Everybody. Uh, Today, I'm gonna give something very light, okay, in between these heavy sessions. So I hope you enjoy it. It's not gonna be, in-depth in coding. I'm just gonna show off some stuff, okay? Anybody attended previous session for me for Kinect? Anybody seen the Kinect? Okay. So I'm gonna go again through Kinect for half the time. I'm gonna show something new here. Let's start by the slides. Sorry, I just inserted my first death screen, and Windows, it's not blue anymore. So today we're going to talk about new experience in user interface. Previously you had the GUI, which is the graphical user interface, and start up with the mouse, how you interact with the computer in a new way by a pointing device. If you know the history of the mouse, started with Xerox, then Apple, then Microsoft. Okay, then they came with some specialized input devices like joystick, okay, knobs, but it was like for video editing, for security cameras, whatever. And then it was imported to Windows, to the PC in general. Okay, so now you can have the gaming control running on Windows normally. And there was the 3D mouse. You have the roller ball. So advances in human-machine interaction has been, slow, very slow, not matching the power of the hardware and the technology we have. A couple of years ago, Microsoft made Kinect available for their game console, Xbox, and they thought, okay, it's very great for gaming, so why don't we import it to the business world, to the PC? Okay, so they released a special version of Kinect. It's called Kinect for Windows. Okay, you can use for development the normal Xbox Kinect, but it's not for commercial use. If you want to go for commercial, you have to buy this product. It's a little bit higher, and have some extra features as a hardware. It's called Kinect for Windows, and the domain for it is connectforwindows.com. Something like $240. And they release a beta SDK for the developers to use it. There have been some porting to some open source projects like Kinect UI. Yeah, he's photographing this. Okay. Then there was the first release, one which I made the session for. They have 1.5 and 1.6. They added a lot of features. Most of the work is done, and the heavy lifting is done by the software on the SDK, and to give you some simple stuff you can use in your application. The 1.6 release support now virtual machine. So as I see, I'm using Mac OS X, and I'm having a VMware session of Windows 8, so it's running. I've been missing this feature for a while. So let's start. This is the Kinect, okay. Kinect hardware. The one we will be using, saying just Kinect. For the Xbox, it's gonna be Kinect for Xbox, okay, or Xbox 360. This is the one, the Xbox 360 Kinect, okay. They are similar, but there is some tweaks for the Windows version. The components of this, the hardware components, they have a tilt motor. Okay, so you can go up and down, motorized. You have RGB camera, so it's color camera. And you have 3D depth sensor, which is basically an infrared camera. Okay? And the other one is projecting RFID, IR, infrared. So there is an illumination source and a camera, but it's working on the IR level. And we have microphone array, one on the side and three on the other sides. So they have echo cancellation. You have directed audio. So you can detect the direction of the audio, where it's coming from. We had a previous session. You can check it on the YouTube on our channel, DevLifeStyle. You'll have a nice experience about we compiled code, and we have our friend Adel showing off and playing with Kinect. So you can check it out. So I'm gonna go through it fast. So we have the RGB camera, streaming color video, IR source, which is beaming infrared it's a matrix, infrared matrix, and the IR camera, which is detecting the depth data, the reflection of this IR beam. And we have the mic array and the tilt motor. The features, we have color video. You can show it as a normal camera. Depth mapping stream, which is like a video, but it's grayscale and showing the depth, okay, showing the features of the objects. And we have the audio stream. And the most important thing is the skeleton detection. This is done on the software. They have some very intelligent stuff here. So they are taking the depth data, analyzing it, and detecting human beings. Okay, so it knows that this is a human, and it maps it to a skeleton, saying that they have this joint, they have this right hand, left hand, okay? And they added face tracking since 1.5, I guess. So it detects that this is the face and give you the feature of the face. Seated mode, this is only available in the Kinect for Windows, not available for the Xbox Kinect. They have something called near mode and seated mode, so it can work with people near it in the near mode, okay, or seated. So it's from the torso up. Xbox, no, it only works on standing people just like 3 meters or 2.5 meters away. And they have voice recognition. They integrated it with the voice recognition SDKs from Microsoft, so it can recognize voice commands. So it has so many applications, but you know, if you are aware of some of this, like spatial augmented reality, you have augmented reality. You have a video streaming the surroundings, and the computer is projecting some features or some whatever it Xbox like. If you're having your mobile camera going like this, and you're seeing like the Kaabas this way, okay? So it's projecting, drawing the Kaabas on top of it, or an arrow for navigation. This is called augmented reality. NUI, which is natural user interface. This is the core of our speech today. 3D modeling. Some people use this Xbox features, the depth mapping, to make a 3D scanner to recognize faces and draw 3D models. First-person view, so beautiful for games. There's a lot of verticals that we can use in the application. Actually, people started doing business out of this device, like in medical. Okay, there is an excellent example for medical applications. Anybody have been to OR before? Operations, they call it the theater. Okay, where they do operations. Okay, so the surgeon is doing what he's doing with the patient, okay, and have to dig up some data, like to see the X-ray, okay. The problem is there has to be a computer. This computer has to be sterilized. It's a closed, a sealed area. There can be no bacteria or anything. So they put the mouse in a bag, okay, sterilized bag, and they cover the monitor with another bag, or they have, in order, because they cannot just wash it with disinfectants. So the experience is horrible. Okay, normally they have a dedicated nurse just showing whatever the doctor is asking, give you the X-ray of this. Even worse if you are doing endoscopy, so you're putting a camera and you're doing the operation and you have to see what's going on. So this interaction with the computer is horrible. Imagine that you have a screen behind the glass, sealed glass, covered, and Kinect, and the surgeon can just wave in the air and start making a zoom, pan, change, do whatever you do without touching this stuff. This is a very good example. Of course, marketing. There are some examples in marketing like kiosk, information kiosks. Actually, if I do a Kinect or whatever we are talking about today, kids will gonna line up, okay, on your kiosk, your marketing kiosk, just to play with it. Education. Microsoft is sponsoring some applications in education. You can check it on connectforwindows.com, and you'll check some examples. Entertainment, of course, retail. There's a good opportunity always for collecting people and showing off some of your stuff. This is an example, okay? The top one on the left, this is what I'm talking about a surgeon having interaction with the computer without touching it. The bottom left one, this is a 3D model, okay? So they are building a 3D model and projecting it on virtual reality, augmented reality. Somebody have done a Google Earth integration. This is Bing Maps, okay, but there is a Google also. So you can interact with the map directly. And of course, I think this is near to mobile advertisement they have been doing, the top one. So people are doing stuff on the air and interacting with things that doesn't physically exist. So let's have a talk about NUI. Basically, it's a new way of interacting with the computers, but you don't have to do stuff, to learn stuff to do, like holding the mouse this way and rolling and clicking. No, it's interacting with your body. So you're using your body language. You want to change, you just swipe, okay? You want to drag, you drag. You want to expand, you expand, okay? Of course, adding the voice commands, so you can tell the computer what to do. This is always a good thing. So what started all this is a movie by Steven Spielberg. It's called Minority Report, Tom Cruise movie. So actually, they are trying to implement whatever happened in this movie. It's the model for the NUI. Okay, so this is the data I'm getting out of the Kinect SDK. So I'm having skeleton joints. This is the most important one because I know in the image where is the head, where is the left hand, where is the right hand, so I can track it. Like a command like if he's raising the right hand, do this stuff. This is the left mouse click. This is the right mouse click. Whatever. Okay, you can dance, interact with the with the computer as you wish. So for the SDK, you can download the Microsoft Kinect, Windows Kinect SDK from connectforwindows.com, and this is some examples. So you have something called the Developer Toolkit browser to access everything in the Kinect SDK. Even you have human interface guidance, how to do your development, what should you take care of when programming for the Kinect SDK. Okay, there's a Kinect Studio. We talked about it last time, so if you care to check the videos, it's gonna be helpful. Let's jump to, unfortunately, I have only, I forgot about it, it's my mistake. I have this machine having only Visual Studio 2012, which doesn't support XNA by default. There was a previous session about XNA, if you are interested to know more about it. It's like the gaming framework or simulation framework from Microsoft. But until now, Microsoft didn't refresh it to support Windows Visual Studio 2012. It supports only 2010. I don't have it installed here, so I'm not gonna go through the code. I'm only gonna show the applications running. So Start with Kinect Explorer. And boom. Just work it right now. I don't know. Okay. It worked. So here we have the video stream. Okay. Here we have, this is the depth stream. So this is just an interpretation of whatever infrared data they are receiving to guess the depth, okay, the feature. And as I'm talking now, you can see here, this is a directional audio. So where I'm talking, it's gonna change, detect the position of the voice. I can change the motor, okay, to go up and down. It's all accessible from the SDK. So I say I'm skeleton, it's default. I'm saying I'm in seated position, so it should detect skeleton somehow. In seated position, I don't know. Let's make it default and go away. So it should detect skeleton. Okay, so it knows that it's mapping that this is the hand, the head. Okay. Of course, if I say that I'm in seated position, it's gonna go torso up. Hopefully. Now it didn't work. Okay. So now detecting my full body. So it's tracking my hand. It's a little bit slow because I'm running on virtual machine on MacBook Air, so it's something expected, but it's tracking my body, knows that this is my leg, this is my head, this is my hands, and you can use this data in your application. So you got the idea? Okay. Of course, last time we played this shape game when you collect shapes but I'm not in shape now to run, to jump. Okay, let's show something interesting. So I can do green screen application. Okay. Now, what's happening is it's detecting my body, that this is a human being, and overlaying this data, the depth data and the skeleton data, on top of the color, and masking out my background without using a green screen in behind or anything, and just using another image. Okay? This is a very good example. It's not tuned up, just the example with the SDKs. Can you join me? Let's see what will happen if somebody else enter the scene, detect multiple persons, okay, and it know exactly that this is the person, discard the background, and use his data. Okay? This is in WPF, and you have the source code with the SDK. Interesting stuff, right? Okay. So it should detect my face somehow. It's not convinced that I'm being here. Okay, let's run another one. Just start avataring. I don't know what's the problem. Maybe it's in the settings. Let's see. It's not detecting it? Okay, I don't know. Maybe it needs more processing power. It needs a better computer. But normally, it's, if I run it directly, it will get an avatar face on top of my face. So it's detecting that this is my face. I'm masking it out. I'm drawing a 3D layer on top of it. So you got the idea, right? A lot of features, you can explore this if you have access to the Kinect for Windows. But for development, you can use the Kinect for Xbox, the normal Kinect, which is, I think it's available everywhere. The Kinect for Windows, I think you have to buy it from the States. But it's for commercial use because it has a license to be deployment license to be deployed outside the Visual Studio. You can package your application and sell it to the customer directly. You cannot do this with the Xbox version. Okay, you will find here a lot of games and some stuff. So be careful that the XNA doesn't work with yet. There is a hack to install it in 2012, but I didn't have the time to do it. So, what do you think about Kinect? Kinect for Windows. I think it's cool. You can build some amazing applications with it, not only for games. But the issue here, it has been a great product. I love it. But it's starting a full body, face, okay, to detect the skeleton. It's very neat in detecting skeleton data, depth data, okay. But what if I want to use my hand? Actually, it detects the hand, but doesn't interact with the fingers, okay. We were missing this feature until recently. There is a new product. It's not coming from Microsoft, okay, from another startup company. It's called LeapMotion. So this is the product. Actually, it's not yet for sale. It's gonna be for sale mid-May. Okay, it's like $70. But they were nice enough to send us a pre-release version, but they asked me to tell you that, asked everybody, there is more than 10,000 developers around the world they send this device to, that this is not the final product. It's gonna be, might be a little bit changed, and the SDK might be also a little bit tuned up. So, let's go back to our presentation and talk about the Leap. This is it, okay, physically. It's very small, okay, it's a little bit Apple-ish. This is basically screenshots from their video. I'm going to show it to you in a moment. But this device detects the hands, okay? It works on the hands, detect your hands and fingers. So it can recognize individual fingers, okay? It's in a close range. Don't have to stand up or lift it. Just on top of your keyboard and start interacting with it. Like you see here, it even interacts with objects you hold in your hand. a pen. Okay, like if you're holding a pen, it can recognize that this is a hand holding an object. Okay, and you start playing with it. This is the famous fruit samurai. Okay, so you can slash it directly with your finger. And this one is quite amazing. Okay, actually you're simulating the flight with your hand and you're flying a flying machine here. It's all about games. This is what they are thought about yet, but I think until the finished product, there are gonna be tons of applications supporting it. Of course, this is the very famous Angry Birds playing with chopstick. Okay, and the usual demo for the maps, you interacting with the maps. Let's see the video. هجيب Okay, interested yet? Okay. This is the internal of the device. It has some infrared array also. The sources here, 1, 2, 3 sources. Okay, and 2 drift cameras. It's very simple, but the intelligence is all about the software. It's not the hardware. They have a cool SDK that convert this data, this camera data, basically, into useful data. Okay. This is the hand models that they support. They have, actually, this is a vector, okay? So they have a vector representation of fingers where they are pointing, okay? And for the hand, and the curvation of the hand. Like if you are holding a sphere, it will give you how big is the sphere. Okay, recognize objects you are holding in your hand, like a pen. That's your pencil in this case. Because pen will not be great if you have a metal pen, because this is infrared, so you don't need anything reflective for infrared or distractive, just basic physics in this. And they just released their new SDK, still all beta, but they have major improvements in the SDK, which is the gestures. So they support gestures directly. You don't have to do the complex math to detect the vectors moving, to detect certain gestures which have been done for people are doing it for at least 6 months now. So they have simple gestures like swipe, okay, and tap like a keyboard tab, okay, and screen tab, okay, and you have the motion gesture, and also will give you I'll see a demo now with C#. It's giving you that this gesture, the kind of the gesture, and how many fingers. So if you're swiping with one hand, it's different from 2 hands. So let's see if it will run. It's basically USB, and most of the developers use C++ because it works on Mac and Windows. I think they are releasing another version for Linux. So it's cross-platform. So the best cross-platform language is, of course, C++. And anybody heard about Unity? There's a framework called Unity, okay? Have some support for Unity. It's going to be a little bit slow because we work on virtual machine. I didn't intend to work on virtual machine, but for somehow Windows on Mac hardware doesn't do well with the projector, so I have to work with the virtual machine. So all you have to do is just register. Of course, if you are lucky enough to have access to the hardware, but it's going to be public, and I think 13th of May, it's going to be for sale on Best Buy. And there is another interesting news. They made a deal with Asus. So the next year laptops is going to be embedded with Leap. All Asus models. So it's going to be very interesting. People are going to play with it a lot. So just install this service application down here. You can access to the settings at home, but we'll do visualization. So this is a vector representing my finger. Of course, it's very slow. So let's try to use a mouse machine. Maybe a little bit faster. All we have done on this other machine is install the SDK, and you have to be enrolled in their beta program, so I'll ask you for your username and password, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is detecting my fingers, and this is a vector. So I have all 3D. Okay, so if I let's see one finger. If I bend my finger, it's bending with it. It's not perfect, it's in beta, but you can see I'm bending my finger, and it's going flawlessly with it. And it's so precise that actually this box, this square is 1 centimeter. It gives you presentation in millimeters. So it's quite precise. I'm going to do just a very simple example. For the gestures. Okay, so basically this is just a class, okay, and it's having properties like directions. So it's a set of directions, fingers, and it have a gesture. This is hooking a listener, hooking events to listen to the gesture events. So I'm not tracking the fingers. It's the SDK is notifying me of gestures directly. Okay. So I'm having just saying that I will be listening to the up direction, down direction, right, left, backward and onward, okay? And this is the program. I'm just adding a listener to the event. Let me do one thing. How can I increase the font? I forgot. Sorry. I work in so many IDEs that I always forget the basics. Okay. So here I'm looking for this. This is the sensitivity. Okay, I'm looking for a listener, and just whenever I receive a gesture, I will write if it's okay, acceptable for me in the directions I specified before in the listener. I'll just write what's the gesture and how many fingers. Okay, so let's run it. Hopefully it will work directly. So I'm staying connected. Okay, so here say I've made left with 2 fingers. Let's try this. Okay. So I have right, up. Okay, it's in beta, but it should work. Okay, this is down. Circle motion, it's not updated yet, but they have the circular motion also. So you can do like this and it will detect it. This is just a basic example showing you that you can give gestures and interact with it directly. Okay. This is, I think, the most useful feature that you can use instantly without going into math and analyzing the vector stuff. Okay. So. Back here. Okay, actually this is not update because they just released the gesture update like a couple of days ago, so we didn't have the time to play with it. So. People all over the web is saying that this is the Kinect replacement. I don't believe so. Because Kinect gives you excellent skeletal information. It has the microphones, directional microphones. It has the color image, depth image, okay, that you can use in many applications. But Leap is quite good at tracking fingers, so you can interact on the finger level, okay? And the objects are, okay. As you can see, you can hold the pencil and it will detect, it will give you actually that there is a hand, okay, holding an object and the SDK. So, Kinect have many features, and I believe that joining the two together will give you an excellent experience. So, I believe that they complement each other, and again, well, our model is in the minority report. They have the vision, and people are trying to do this in reality. But you can think of hundreds of ideas. They are launching their own store, okay, in May. So you can go sign up for the SDK it's in LeapMotion.com. Go for developer, and either pre-order one. It's cost $70. It's gonna ship mid-May. Download the SDK, start working with it, but most of it's based on C++, okay? But you have a nice interface in the C# also. You can use it for VB, C#, whatever. It's .NET. Resources, you have, of course, Kinect for Windows. Channel 9, they have some very good videos about Kinect. LeapMotion.com. There's no, there's not a lot of resources about Leap yet, because actually it's in pre-release phase. It's not yet out for the public. And that's it. I hope it was a light session. It was not very heavy. So we're having a break before going to the next heavy session. Any questions? Yeah.
For Kinect, do you think it's useful for disabled people today?
Sure.
They can only move their heads.
Sure, but you have to work on it. You have to do some heavy lifting on it. But they have the seated mode, the near mode, and the seated mode just added that to detect people sitting. Okay, so it's gonna work on this torso part, and it will give you good data about it. So we can use it actually. Yeah.
Do you think it can detect if you are angry or happy or?
Actually, it detects the face. Okay, but it's line up the face that this is the eye, this is whatever. But you can analyze. There is a very good library called OpenCV, Open Computer Vision. Okay, so you can complement this with you have the video feed, you have RGB video feed, and you have depth feed. So you can play with it, but you have to do the algorithms to do this. Okay, but it's gonna be a very nice idea, very nice application.
I think I saw an example somewhere for tracking the eye movement.
Yeah, but it will give you the face and the features in the face. So
Yeah,
you
no,
can line up.
I saw an application where, for example, you want to double click, you just look to your right twice.
But this is on
Like
the
this.
video camera. It's not the connector. It's a
Yes,
video
yes,
based.
yeah.
You have a lot of stuff on the video analysis. I think it's most probably it's built on OpenCV. They have the most amazing
Okay,
library.
so can I integrate the procedure with it?
Yeah, sure. You're having a stream, data stream frames. You can play with that as you wish. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. أنا محكتي بقى.
ايش هذا؟ ايش هذا؟ هذا المايك، فاهم المايك؟ ما يحتاج مايك عشان